Vanakkam. Welcome back to our course on SAP Materials Management. In this session, we will be discussing how to navigate into SAP. That is, how to log in into SAP, how to set default settings, how to set some selection parameters basically, and how to see some of the help or some possible values, those kind of things into SAP, which are very much handy when you are handling SAP. Before going into the session, let us see the answers for the quiz we addressed in the last session 201. What are the key success factors to implement any ERP or SAP? See, for any implementation when you go, the success factors are people who are involved in the project. There should be good people should be available. Process should have been defined properly, and data should be very clean and very accurate data should be there. Of course, the technology is important. So people, process, and data or technology. These are the key parameters for any implementation of ERP or SAP. Second is the abbreviation for SAP. It is System Application Products and Data Processing. Many of you think why you are putting the basic question. Of course, sometimes you have to see the basic things, right? So ERP will have multiple sources of data, true or false. That was a question. So any ERP, the basic purpose is to have single source of data, right? Everybody should talk about same data. There should not be any multiple sources. So ERP will have single source of data only. And what are the key modules in SAP? So here I address this some key modules which are widely used, but if you have put some other modules, it's fine. Like a metal management, production planning, SD and FICO, I put it here. If you put quality management, plant maintenance, those things, it's fine, no problem. But the thing is that we should know what are the key and the basic modules. SAP modules are integrated with each other, true or false? Of course, all the modules in SAP are integrated with each other. Some modules are very tightly integrated. Some modules are integrated in some places. The variation of the extension of the integration may change, but all the modules are integrated to each other. Now, what are all the key process steps in materials management? This is the question. So it is now determination of the requirements, source determination, vendor selection, purchase order processing, purchase order monitoring, goods receipt, invoice verification, goods issue, physical stock verifications. In SAP, business approach is changed from modules to the processes. What are the key processes I asked? The processes are procure to pay, a plan to product, order to cash. If you want to have some clarification, you can visit the last session of all these questions. And also you can go to some Google, find out some further clarifications on all these points. Okay, so now we are going to the session. So last session we completed what is ERP, what is SAP. Now we are going to see how we are going to integrate, how we are going to navigate into SAP. SAP icon will be appearing like this for the all the on-premise and also for the private cloud things. For public cloud, now they're giving all these things through these what is the Fury only. But for private cloud and also the on-premise things, these are the options where you can see the icon like SAP icon. Here you will be seeing what are all the servers which are provided to you. Normally for users, the production server will be given end users. For power users, they will be given with the production server and the test servers. For consultants, development server and development server and quality servers will be given. Depends on the server given to you, you need to select which server is applicable to you. SAP is a client system. We know this, right? The client concept enables joint operation in one system. Like a company may have an organization or a group may have different enterprises, like a different company codes, different companies, different plants, all these things which are independent to each other in terms of business. So the client enables for the joint operation for all these. During each user session, where we are accessing SAP, the data of the specific client is selected through that login. We cannot access the data of the other clients during the login with the one client. And client is in organization term, it is independent unit in SAP. Each client has its own data and own environment, like a master data, transaction data, user ID, master records, chart of accounts, those kind of things. A user master record linked to relevant client must be created for users to enable to log on to the system, right? And in SAP, this page, what we are seeing here is called the menu bar. Here we are seeing as a menu bar. And here we are seeing as a command field, which is given here. And for to access the system, right? To access the system, you have an user ID given for each client. That's what we discussed. And also to protect any access or to have security to the system, password is also given. Password is hidden in the SAP when you are going there. You can see only the asterisk as we are seeing here. Also, SAP is having with different languages. So we can put the language also. Right, you can put the language also. Accordingly, we have to put the inputs also there in the metal description, those things. That is very important. Please note that multiple logons are not allowed in S4HANA system. But in ECC, multiple login is allowed. But it will give the warning message that to continue with the current logon and end with any other logon, or continue the logon without ending other login and terminate the current login, like that. But it is strongly suggested as a best practice to use one system at a time. Also, please note that when you are entering wrong password, so more than 3 times, system will lock it. Normally, this is the settings. So you have to be careful when you're entering the password for the when you're entering into the system. Normally, SAP is divided into 3 servers. The first is development server. Development server is usually used by consultants to set the system as per business needs. All system configuration and testing will be done by consultants in this server. This is very sensitive, so users should not be allowed to use the system. Right? Only the matured, for example, you have a own users who are developed to the level of consultants. Those kind of people only will be given access to this, not with the regular end users or even the regular power users. The next server is called quality server. Quality server, once you have all the settings done in the development server, those settings, the configuration settings will be moved to the quality system, and these will be used by the power users or key user to test the system, right? To test the system, they will do it. Any transaction here will not affect the production system. So any type of combination or any type of testing can be done here before giving clearance for any solution. This is one important thing, because this quality server testing, normally people leave it to the consultants. You do the testing and give it to me. That should not be there. The users, the key users and the end users, they should be allowed, or they should make all the testing, possible testings, to meet their business requirements in this testing system, because consultants can be made responsible only up to this quality system. Once the users are giving clearance that it is working in quality system, then the job of consultants is over. This is one of the best practice should be followed and insisted by the organizations. Many places this is missing. Because of this, users are not taking responsibility. Instead, they are blaming the consultants or the SAP team for any problem they are facing. Finally, we are having the production system, where once the system is working fine in the quality system, all the configuration settings will be moved to the production system. So whatever the business transactions which are done on day-to-day basis, they are all recorded in the production system. Please note that only the configuration settings are moved here through the concept called the change request, or the change request method. But the master data, whatever required, they have to be created in each system as required by the users to carry out the testing. Now let us see some basic Now let us see some basic settings to be done when you are going to the SAP. When you open SAP, initially you see the transaction as a description. For example, display current details or display key date details. Like this, we can see only the description. We are not seeing the transaction code, that is T codes, we are not seeing it. So how to test this T codes? Now we go to the extras in the menu and select the settings. After select the settings, here there is one box, right? Display the technical terms. Select it and press enter. Now we are getting this MM03 display metal master. Like that we are getting it. Next, we will see how to enter the transactions. You may think, what is this? He is telling this one. Because I am seeing this problem with many people that they are wasting time while they are entering the transactions. That is why I included this point. Whenever we want to enter the transaction, you will see this here and there is a command field. In this command field, you can directly enter what is the transaction MM03. Then system will take us to the transaction page. Okay, this is one way to enter it. Now we are in the display metal page. With this page, I want to go to the another transaction. So this is where now people are know they will again go back to the home page. Then they will enter what is the transaction required. They will go it. Again, even though it is very few seconds, it is unnecessary activity, right? So whenever you are in the screen like this, use /n. For example, I want to see the bill of materials. For bill of materials, transaction code is CS03. So I type /n CS03 in the command field. System will open this. It will replace the page, the middle page. It will go to the BOM page. /n CS03 means it will close the metal master page. It will open the BOM page. That is the /n CS03. Now I am in this BOM page, but I also want to see some other screen in parallel, which means I want to open another screen, right? So for this also people normally go to the system, generate another screen like that, they will go for it. Instead of that, here you can use /o. You can put /o, then put MM03, for example. So /n means the system will close the current page, open the new page. /o means system will keep the current page, it will open the another new page. So this is one basic thing which you remember. With these things, you can save some time. Though it is a fraction of seconds, this will save good amount of time. So normally each user will have their own frequently used transaction codes. For example, material management person will have some specific transaction codes. The sales people will have specific transaction codes, or planning people have specific transaction codes. What they are using regularly, 2-3 transaction code, they may be remembering it and type it. But there are some transaction code which they need to visit and see them because they need something. For example, a metal management person, he wants to see the what is the bill of metal. Suddenly he may not remember what is the transaction for bill of metal. These kind of things they can save as a favorites. Okay, these things they can save in terms of favorites. So for example, MM master data, what is that? Display metal master MM03, display info record ME13, display source list, those kind of things no can be saved in MM master data. Then procurement transactions, sales order, those things we can create a folder. Under the folder we can save the transactions. So whenever, and also many companies they are creating a lot of customized transactions, Z1 2 3 4 like that. Those transactions remembering and typing is difficult. So those things can be created as a folder and saved here so that you can access them immediately, right? So how to create the favorites and how to keep the folders, let us see. So to create the favorites, go to that favorite icon, right click on these favorite icons. System is showing that open folder, insert folder like this, put insert folder. In the insert folder, give the name what you want. For example, production related or sales related or procurement related, whatever it is. And then enter the what is the folder name, right? That's what now folder name we entered. After entering the name, the folder is created. Now we can see the sales. Sales is a folder we create, the folder is created. Now how to insert the transaction into this folder? Now you right click on the favorites on the selected folder or open the folder. Here you go on the right click on this, that what is that, insert transaction. No, it is appearing. You can right click on the folder what you created, click on insert transaction. The page is opening for the screen is open for entering the transaction code, enter the transaction code. For example, I entered VA03, which is display sale order here, and then we save it, right? It's automatically coming, right? When you put the enter, it will come automatically. Like this, when we add the folder and transaction, it will look like this. For example, here in this folder, we have production related things, COIS, CO03. Similarly, sales, VA03, VA05. We can also manage the favorites from the menu also, right? So there you go to the favorites in the menu page, the menu section. There we see that insert folder or insert transaction. Two options are there. You can use one of these options. We will be using SAP, but we don't know what is the version which is being used, right? If somebody is telling it is fine. I found this in many companies, people are using SAP, and they also, when they call me, sir, I want to see that SAP. I ask them, are you working in SAP? They say, yes, I'm working in SAP. Then when I ask, what is the version you are working, they don't know, right? Because we saw introduction, no? SAP S4 HANA 1609, then earlier ECC 506, like this, many versions are there. You should know what is the version you are working. So how to find out the version? This is the simple method to find out the version. Go to the system and then click the status. And then in the status page, it will open this kind of page here. Here, you click on this button, which is it showing that the license expired or not. Above that, there is a lens kind of icon is there. Click on that. Now you select that second bar here, which is showing installed product versions. Now here you can see the versions which are which I am working in the system. I mean, which I am displaying in the system, which is S4 HANA 2021. This is how you find the version of SAP you are using. So whenever we are working on any SAP transactions, there may be some doubt will raise. See, the users may be new to this SAP, or there may be some new transactions is performing, or he is moving from one department to another department where he wants to know what is that field, what is the purpose of that field, or there may be some field which is not used, probably that one we need to use. For those kind of things, SAP has given excellent option to understand what is that field, right? So you keep the cursor on that specific field and press F1. System will give the details about that particular field. So for example, here we are on the purchasing screen, where you are purchasing group, purchasing screen of a metal master, and purchasing group. I am seeing the help page here. It is showing what is the description of purchasing group, what is the use of purchasing group, and what is the procedure to be followed while using this purchasing group. So like this, around 90% of the fields are given this kind of support from SAP. So if you have any doubt in any field, you don't go for some internet immediately, or don't go for somebody else to understand this. You just use this F1. It will give you excellent idea about that field. Similarly, if you are having this purchase value key, this is another field where it is telling what is purchasing value key, what is the procedure, and also what are the dependencies. I mean, for what this is to be filled. For example, those things also given. So use this F1 option and maximum possible. While using the SAP to enter some transactions, sometimes we may struck what field, what value we have to enter in specific field. For that also SAP is given option to see what are the possible entries in a specific field. For example, we take this in this page in Metal Master, there is a metal group. I want to understand what kind of values I can enter here, what are the possible values there. So when I put F4, right, when I put F4, or when I click on there is on the right side of this field, there will be a small box will be there. If you click also, it will open, right? Then it will show this, what are all the values. And here, this metal group, there are 74 or no, 75 possible entries are found in this metal group. And when you click on this small inverted triangle, system will open for the search options, right? I want to search. For example, there are 500 fields. How to go and find out what is the possible field there? It is difficult. For example, if you have 10, 20 fields, you can find out. There are 500 fields, how to find out? Then here you can use the search field. When you're using the search field, there is option to use the star. Please use that. If you put anything, any word or any term, Before that star means a star with the word, for example, star SAT means anything finishing with SAT will be showing here. If you put SAT star, then anything starting with SAT will appear there. If you put star SAT star means anything having this SAT in between and whatever is before and after, those things will appear. So use this search with the star option so that will give you very good selection I mean very good possible values what you need to have. While going into some specific transactions, there are some settings we do not want to keep them entering again and again. For example, when I go into Metal Master, I want to set this views of Metal Masters, which I don't want to select again and again. I go inside. I want to set it. So how to set it? For example, here, when I go to the Metal Master showing all the possible views, I select all these views, press on these save default values. All right. Similarly, when I click on this organization data, because I'm going to see that I'm working on plant, I'm always going to use the same plant number only. Why should I enter it again and again? So enter that plant and then again save it. So when I save this, default settings will be saved. So you don't need to enter them again and again. Not only the default views and default organizations we can save, but also while doing some transactions, we need to enter many parameters. For example, when you are going to purchasing documents reports, so this is the page you can see how many parameters are there. In this, you will be having many parameters to enter, like a plant, organization, purchasing group, and metal group, these kind of things. I don't need to enter them again and again. I just want to have them as a set. So whenever going to the transaction, I just want to open it and proceed with that. So these things also we can handle them in SAP as saving as them as variants. To create the variants, go to the menu and here go to variants, then save as variants. After entering what are the parameters what we are going to enter them repeatedly. And then when you are putting the save as variant, you can give the name. For example, you can give your name or user ID, whatever it is, give them, and then you can save them. So after saving these variants, when you are going and opening the system again, and that go to variant, no, the first slide, go to variant. Here you can, what is that, open the display, right? Variant. You can open that variant. It will show these variants, right? It will list out the variants whatever is selected. So which variant you want to have that you select it, then all the parameters what you entered, they will come automatically. Then you can execute the transaction. This way you can save at least some 30 seconds to 1 minute for each transaction before going to it. In this session, we discussed how to log in into SAP, how to create favorites, how to set default settings for views, organization, selection parameters, how to use help and possible entries. Now let us see what are the quizzes for this session. So what are the three basic servers in SAP? We discussed now three servers. What are them? We can manage a transaction by folders in favorites, whether it is true or not. When we have some doubt about a field while doing the transactions, what should we do to get it clarified? And how to see the possible values to be entered into a specific field. Every time when a transaction is executed, entering some repeated selection parameters is time-taking activity. How to avoid this? So this is the quiz for this session. Answers will be given in the next session. Meanwhile, whenever we are asking these questions, don't stop with these kind of quizzes. Questions related to this, maybe analyze something more and study more so that you can improve your knowledge. For example, here I have given this, what are the three basic servers? Just instead of giving the answer, go and see what is the definition of each server, what is the application for each server. Like this, you have to expand your learning. Okay, that's important. So after discussing how to navigate with SAP, now we will discuss how to what are the different business processes and how SAP is having impact on this business process. We'll discuss. Now, having discussed how to navigate in SAP, it is a time for you to get one SAP system and start to practice, right? So you have to start practice from now onwards. That is very important. And please give your feedback to improve the flow and contents. And if you have any doubt, you can contact me in the given number, and also put your comments on the our website, on the YouTube channel itself. Also, please subscribe and by yourself, and also suggest your friends and colleagues. Thank you, and see you in the next session. Bye. Take care.